Welcome back, part two of Talking Sheffield this Thursday evening, talking sport for an hour or so. We've still got 24 minutes left with Michael Morgan of The Sun these days, freelance journalist, not veteran, experienced journalist, young manager still, despite the fact 3 years now at Hallam.
No, you'll be going up for nearly 2, yeah.
Nearly two. Ryan
Hindley. Seems that long.
Ryan Hindley and James Colliver, new manager of Sheffield FC.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah. Previously at Clipston FC, but you began your career at Rotherham.
Yeah, I was down there from a young lad, centre of excellence. Loved my time down there. Because of my size, didn't say to get a YTS it was back then, but chose to stay on extended schoolboys, and then one thing or another went to college and actually worked for the community programme for 5 years, so I've got a lot of time for Rotherham United. So yeah, started down there, then it was just non-league after that, and I think I've been around every non-league club locally and as far as into Derbyshire. And I've been to Ilkeston with Ryan when he was down there, but works uptown, and Frickley, the other ways you're going to sort of Wakefield way. But yeah, so I've had some good times at Rotherham, and then obviously in non-league, and built a lot of friendships up throughout football. Which brings us nicely on to Rotherham United being at Hillsborough in one of the games of the day in the Championship on Saturday. It's the one I'll be at for TalkSport. Are you at Hillsborough too?
No, I'm going to. I've got Leeds Bolton on Saturday.
Well, we could fill the entire rest of the programme with Leeds United, Steve Evans and Massimo Cellino, couldn't we, really?
Yeah.
I don't think we should, do you?
No, not at all.
No? OK, we'll steer away from that. We'll talk about the pantomime villain then for Hillsborough, and he's going to enjoy it. He revels in it. The worst thing Wednesday fans can do is boo Neil Warnock, eh?
It's funny because I've been doing a piece with Tony Stewart today, and we've been talking about bringing in Neil Warnock, and you know, what I said to Tony was that what he's done with bringing Neil and Blackie in has given himself and his club the best chance they'll have of staying in that division. Because when you look at it, you know, you've got Neil Warnock, who is now 67, but showing all the enthusiasm of a 17-year-old still. He's the guy that can put an arm around the shoulder of the players, but also, you know, bring out the best in them with the way, you know, his man management skills and his tactical nous and everything else. You've also got Blackie, who he drives them on the training ground. And when you look at it, I mean, when they were appointed, I Googled Neil and Blackie just to see what kind of experience they'd actually had. Now, these two guys have had 1,500 games between them as managers. So Rotherham have got two for the price of one, basically.
Much as you sympathise with Neil Redfern, and I certainly did from outside.
Well, yeah, I did that, but I don't think that was the right situation for Neil to go into as a manager. I thought it was a very tough ask for him.
They're worth a bet, aren't they, to stay up, Rotherham?
Well, they're only 3 points from safety now.
Yeah, and that I saw MK Dons lose at Blackburn, so really. But
he'll get back to your original question.
Yeah.
He'll love it, Neil, and he will be disappointed if he doesn't get flack on Saturday.
Do you see him? Did you give him very much hope of a draw would be a good result for Rotherham? Then?
I think he's got a fighting chance.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll get anything at Hillsborough.
No.
I think Wednesday will steamroll them.
Do you?
Yeah.
You think it'll be that emphatic? More than one goal in it?
I think it'll be 3 or 4-0.
Right, OK. I'll be surprised if it's that wide a margin, but you'd have to go for a Sheffield Wednesday victory. By the way, apologies, James Gregg fans. Your man can't be here tonight. He's succumbed to a dose of flu. It can only be man flu at his age. It really can. But James, get well soon if you're watching, and hope you can return with us next week. Right, we're going to really spine chill you now because you came across something in bottom of a drawer somewhere.
Yeah, the room in my house that I use as an office, and I was clearing it out, and I came across this cutting that obviously I'd kept all these years, and it was quite scary, I must admit. Well,
we'll see. It was the Sheffield Star. It appeared in Sheffield Star 1976, or December 76, and there we go. Now, there might be a couple of guys on there you recognise, or maybe you don't. Well, let's start at the top, and I mean the top, because he's the top guy, Stuart Linnell.
Yeah, brilliant.
yeah, a mentor for me as sports editor at Radio Hallam when I went there. And he's still working to this day, breakfast show presenter on BBC Radio Northampton.
And I tell you what, a top pro as well. You know, there was no one more thorough than Stuart in what he did and how he prepared everything.
Absolutely.
He was brilliant.
Very slick. And he also covers Coventry City for BBC Coventry and Warwickshire. Now, bottom left, Ken Knighton. Now, older Sheffield Wednesday fans will remember Ken, a big character. Not seen him in years, I hope he's well. Scored a famous goal at the end of one season to keep the Owls in, what was the second division?
He did, yeah.
And he presented a show on there. In the middle at the bottom, I'm not quite sure who that is.
You haven't changed a bit, Biggsy.
I've still got the same amount of hair anyway, but it's just changed colour.
All right, don't rub it in.
Now,
just because I've got Elton John's wig on there.
Bottom right. Any comments about the shirt?
He's got that on now.
Hey, I tell you what, they were all the rage in 1977. Don't worry about that.
All right, so hey, everybody's gone now. We can say what we like. We haven't got an audience left. That was those are the days from 1976. And as you look back, Mike, I mean, there were such different days in terms of the relationship between journalists like us and the football clubs and the players, weren't they? Very, very different.
Well, just as an illustration, I mean, I was in digs in Sheffield then, and when I first came to Sheffield, and that was at Hillsborough, I was in digs, unfortunately. No, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. Really. I shouldn't say that. I don't mean it.
Bit of a clue there.
If anybody from Wentz is watching, I don't mean that. And Willie Henderson was living virtually next door to me, and I mean, Willie was as blind as a bat. And he didn't drive. I mean, I don't know how the hell he played football.
How did he find his way along the wing?
Well, I don't know, but we sometimes used to go into town together. Not together, you know, as we met up to go into town together, but you know, he'd be waiting at the bus stop for his bus, and I'd go and I'd be waiting for my bus as well. And Willie was so blind that whenever a bus appeared, he used to say to me, "What number is it and where's it going?" You know, because he couldn't see that far in front of him.
Did he not wear contacts on the field or anything like that?
They were invented then, were they? Contacts.
So he just, but anyway, he just faced forward and ran, didn't he? And he used to outrun everybody else and get the crossing.
And I think he must have judged how many paces he needed to take before he got to the dead ball line, so he could cross it before it went out.
That's a great story.
But you know, he used to get players, like I say, you know, travelling on the bus with you, and I mean, getting phone numbers in those days was a doddle.
Yeah.
And they used to volunteer them, you know, because they used to. There was a relationship then between journalists and players that you don't get anymore. Now, a lot of that is a social thing because they earn so much money. Footballers these days, they're on a different level to everybody else anyway. But you know, there was that trust there, and you know, there was the ability to communicate with them on a regular basis, if not a daily basis, and that's how you built up that trust and you built up relationships. You can't do that now.
No, it's all policed.
It's impossible.
It's all policed by the clubs. Every club's the same. And all interviews take place as a set piece, don't they? And as Mike says, that's very, very different. But you two guys, what you got this weekend? Talking about attendances, I think we touched on it earlier. Sheffield United's crowds have held up remarkably well. We might say that impatience from supporters has stampeded the club to some extent, but you can't knock supporters when they come in those numbers. Because you remember more desperate times, relegation to the bottom division in 1980, I think it was, and certainly third division days. But the crowds then were nowhere near what they are now. They're getting remarkable.
Used to get 12,000 then, didn't they?
Yeah. And they're still 17, 18, 19, whatever. It's incredible. Hallam FC's gates are up. What do you put that down to?
Obviously me. No, just I think it's the welcome that people get. So
it's a lovely club.
It is. I won't deny it. It is a fantastic club run by fantastic people, as you've seen in the press and on the radio with Anne, who's been there 60 years, and Steve, the chairman, and everybody on the committee share the same goal, is that they want people to enjoy their experience. And now what's quite good is, whereas Hallam before just wanted people to enjoy the experience and the football result didn't really matter. Now we're getting some success that it's coming together really now that it's a football club that wants people to enjoy their experience, but are also hopefully enjoying the football as well and watching some good performances. So.
Oldest ground in the
But
world.
I mean, I used to go a bit because I used to live at Fulwood before I moved to Drumfield, and you know, I used to go up to Sandygate and to Hallam, and you know, I used to enjoy it. And you know, people say it's proper football, which is a bit of a cliche because you know. Whenever you go and watch football at any level, it's proper football for me.
Yeah. It's the difference in what you're saying in terms of like you can have a pint with the players and stuff, and you can actually
just
get to
over
know.
the road, can't you?
Yeah. Well, no, we've got a fantastic new bar, and the plough's closed now. So
is it?
yeah, so it is good. And again, people get treated with respect, and you almost feel, whether you've been for the first time or the 1,000th time, that it's your club.
I've been a couple of times to matches, and fantastic welcome from people there. As you know, at Sheffield.
Yeah, I think we're fairly young managers, but in his ways a bit old school. And like Ryan says there, we want to get close to the players and get the spectators in and go and have a drink afterwards and win, lose or draw. As long as you see the work and the commitment on the pitch, we'll have a drink in a bar in the clubhouse afterwards. So I think it is that it's spending your £5 to come and watch, getting close to the players, getting close to in around the action really, and recognising how much hard work goes into a non-league club, and I think that's what it is. And Ryan's talking about people that has been at the club years, and how many years?
Anne's been there 60 years.
Yeah, and it's just people like that make non-league.
We've got our own fan bases now, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
You've got the scholars, and we've
Sheffield
got the countrymen
scholars.
ultras. So we've got students that come and follow us now who are making.
We're going to have to get stewards in.
It's absolutely brilliant.
You've got a
They're
cult
on Twitter
following.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I've noticed one or two
They're
on
making
Twitter,
they're making some racket. They're brilliant, and I think James had his first game. And the scholars that he's
brilliant. Really good
Scotland,
atmosphere.
didn't
Yeah, really good atmosphere. And we had nearly 300 fans in the ground, and we've got this small group of lads who are actually Sheffield scholars on a scholarship programme, so it's education and football, and they've been coming and making some good noise and singing to the players, and the lads really enjoyed that, and I think we just want more of those days that we had on Saturday, trying to get the fans back in. Sheffield United away this Saturday, so maybe get a few Sheffield United fans in. I know that it's Sheffield Wednesday and Rotherham, so may lose a few, but if we can get 250, 300 fans in the ground, it'll be great from now to the end of the season. Yeah.
The prestige and history that you mentioned earlier can attract players. Obviously, attracts you as a manager.
Yeah,
that's an asset to you
well,
when you go recruiting.
I thought it was, but it's been difficult. Yeah, I think, like I said, we are where we are at the minute. I've inherited a squad of players, and it's just a case of finishing as good as we can for the rest of the season, and then sitting down and looking at players, budget, and where we're going to go from there. But for me as a player, I had an opportunity to play for him a couple of times, and I never did because I was loyal to my team at the time. Belper, I was club captain, contracted player, and I never got the opportunity to play. But now I'm hoping the younger lads can recognise that the oldest football team in the world, they want to come and play for us and play for me as a manager, and also not as the mate. There's got to be a bit of a difference in mate and management, but how I treat the players and the man management of the players. So hopefully I'll be able to attract some really good players, and we've already started. We've recruited well.
Yeah. It's obvious that there's some talent down there. I mean, you've only got to look at the wonderful success story of Jamie Vardy to know just how much untapped, unearthed talent there is down there, mate. You know, instead of going for foreign players all the time with fancy names, we ought to be looking there, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, James, I'm just up the road from coaching horses, so there's no excuse for me not to go down when I've got.
Is that how you did your head, really? Had a few.
I don't know if
had a few in there and
it might have been.
I'd remember that. Listen, I'm dying to ask you two because it's something I've always wanted to know. With your respective clubs, what is the height of your ambition? How far do you think you can go in the pyramid?
Well, for us, we've got planning permission and we're looking to move move grounds and move away from Dronfield and get back into Sheffield, the home
Getting
of
back to
football.
Olive Grove.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, it's only early days, and like I said, 2 weeks in the job. These are the questions that I want to sit down and ask the people around the place and the chairman, because for Sheffield FC, the brand is a worldwide brand. And it's we'll never be that worldwide brand, playing brand, but if we can bring us somewhere near and try and get us, like you said, the fourth biggest city in the country, why can't we get into the conference and kick on from there? So the answer is I don't know, sitting on the fence a little bit, but they're ambitious, and obviously that shows with the ground and trying to get back to Olive Grove.
Conference would be brilliant.
Yeah,
But it's a good standard then.
It's a point you made earlier, Mike, about Sheffield in general, of Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday over the last fair few years have struggled. It's the same for non-league. You know, Sheffield club not had really any great success. Stocksbridge no great success. Hallam no great success. So it has filtered down. And I think with two young ambitious managers, the aim is to build a city with reputable non-league. Chris Hilton at Stocksbridge is doing a fantastic job.
Great to see.
So the aim is to do that. Is hopefully between us. Obviously Hallam are restricted because the cricket was there 40 odd years before us. So I can take Hallam to the league above, and then unfortunately that journey ends there. But hopefully we might share Olive Grove or something and see what we can do. But no, but yeah.
There's a name. Yeah. There's a name I've got written down because he scored 30 goals this season. Michael Blythen for you.
Should have 60, but anyway, that's another matter. But yeah, he's been outstanding. He's been with me a while. Mike, he's been loyal, and like I've always said, and I said it the other night, that if he'd have chased money, he'd have earned a hell of a lot of money out of the game. But he's
How
always
old is
been
he?
loyal. Mike is 30, 31. But he's never chased money. He's played. He's been loyal. He's a legend at Dinnington, and now he's going to hopefully become a legend at Hallam. But he could have been a legend wherever he wanted to go.
and he's a local lad, isn't he? And he
That's how good he is. Yeah. James knows him really well as well. So, he's an exceptional talent. And between us, you know, we've got some great.
What happened with Jakey Wright? Because he went to Sheffield United.
Yeah, he's still there. He scored again the other day. I think he scored 14 in 18 under 21 games.
Has he?
As we were saying before the show, I hope he gets a chance. If we carry on as we are, then why not? Because we're not going to reach the playoffs at Sheffield United, so let's look for next year. And I think Nigel can buy himself a bit of time by giving young lads opportunity, because the fans will love it. And if they sink, and if they swim, well, fantastic. We'll probably sell them in 10 games.
See Jakey Wright.
If you look hard enough, how many more Jamie Vardys are there at that level?
I played with Jamie up at Stocksbridge, and again, I don't think he realised how much talent he actually had, and it was only in his he progressed so quickly, and then he obviously got his move, and then we played with the lad who's just gone to Barnsley, Sean Tooton, and we could see that in him, and we. I think I can speak for ourselves. We do try and develop the players and move them on, and I've had a lot of dealings with Sean Tooton, and I'm not saying that I got his move to professional football, but we give him good advice when he went to Matlock and Buxton. So I think there's plenty of players out there, and I just think it needed the Jamie Vardy to actually push people and get them looking. And there's players playing at Chesterfield that have been from FC United. There's a couple there, and there's
but the other thing,
Callum's doing well.
The other thing I like about Jamie Vardy, and I mean, I might have got this horribly wrong because I've never actually spoken to him face to face, but he seems to be still a grounded, unspoilt lad. You know, that hasn't what he's achieved hasn't affected him adversely. You know, he's still a down to earth lad.
I think he's changed. Yeah, I think he's changed. I think his manner and his attitude is far better now than his earlier days, and I think that's why he probably didn't get the opportunity sooner.
He was always a lovable rogue, you know, but he's got the thing that people cry out for, which is just pure pace, as Sean has. Pure pace gives you opportunities, and they're both exceptional talents, and Jamie's obviously took it to another level. But it's
given everybody hope, hasn't he?
But he's given everybody hope, but it's been a long journey for him, and I think he's really appreciating where he is, and hopefully long may it continue.
Champions, Leicester City?
It's certainly falling in their favour, isn't it? But
I'd love to see them win it.
I think the depth might come to bite him in the backside. I think
they're just playing with no fear.
To Jamie,
Last night was terrific for him, wasn't it?
It's worked out
this week or the midweek results.
Yeah,
but they all seem to be bending over backwards to let Leicester win it, don't they?
Yeah, Watford. I think every football fan that's not a Tottenham or an Arsenal fan would.
But they've just said, come on, let's have a go, haven't they?
Yeah.
Let's have a go. No fear.
pressure.
Let's go and express ourselves. And you can see that in the performance and the togetherness. And there's too many teams that get promoted and just try and 4-5-1. Let's not get beat. Get bodies behind the ball. Keep it to 1-0.
It's great to see 2 strikers and 4-4-2 and getting the ball forward quickly. It's not a dirty word,
But
is
that'll
it? Going
happen.
direct.
No, absolutely
Far
not.
from it.
You'll see in 2 or 3, 4 years' time that people will forget about this 3-5-2 and all these other formations
Yeah.
and realise that 4-4-2, 85% of goals are scored from crosses in the box. So, what gives you crosses in the box? Your wide men.
Yeah.
We
You
come
play
to
with wide men.
Sheffield United the other night. I don't know what formation they were playing at the end. I don't think, and I've never seen a game where 5 players, I counted 5 players who in the course of the 90 minutes changed position in that chaotic 90 minutes. That was quite incredible. Looking at the fixtures, Wednesday Rotherham, we've mentioned, Sheffield United at Fleetwood. Now, ordinarily, and then they've got, among other opposition in the next 2 or 3 weeks, they've got Oldham and Crewe. Now, you look at those, Fleetwood, Oldham and Crewe ordinarily, and you'd be saying nothing less than 9 points. But how many points would you give them on current?
Well, I wouldn't back Sheffield United to come through any game at the moment. I really wouldn't. And I mean, their record in Lancashire this season has been particularly bad, you know, against mediocre opposition. And if Fleetwood are playing as well, the mighty Fleetwood, if they're playing as well as everybody says, I think they might be on the wrong end of another poor result.
Mind you, it is at Highbury, which is a daunting place to go.
Absolutely, yes.
It used to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, let's just hope it does improve for Sheffield United, because the fans have had 5 years of that, and I know that their moaning might have contributed, you feel, to some of it, but goodness me, no set of supporters deserve
Well,
that, do they?
it just bugs me a little bit that, you know, there seems to be a small, and it is only a small section,
Yeah.
but it is the vocal minority, and they seem to be, you know, demanding unrealistically the sacking of managers, and you know the hierarchy there are pandering to their wishes, just so they'll get them off their backs. That's how it seems to me.
Well, it certainly happened that way in the past, and it certainly seemed that way to me as well. You're at Elland Road, I'm at Hillsborough. Who you two?
We're at home in our playoff bid, local derby against Dronfield.
All right.
3 o'clock at
Dronfield
Sandygate.
Town,
So, yeah, without putting too much pressure on the boys, it's when you're in the playoffs, it's a must-win, and there's nothing worse in a local derby than playing against a team who are mid-table with no pressure. So, fingers crossed we can get the 3 points.
I know it's not your main job. You've got another job outside, but it does wreck your weekend when you lose, doesn't it?
Wrecks my
Talking
week.
A week.
Should see my figures at work.
Does your boss know about that?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does.
He'll be watching.
He'll be watching. Yeah.
And we're at home to Kids Grove, so hopefully...
And what about your lifestyle outside of football?
Working at school, working Outward Academy City, old city school, so it's more mentoring, non-teaching staff, lots of pastoral support. Been there 10 years, so yeah, since leaving Rotherham, went there.
So you've both got sane and sensible jobs outside of the madhouse of
Well, that's
football.
it. Yeah.
We've never had a sane and sensible job, have we?
No.
Mind you, we've not done a day's work.
I've yet to meet a sane and sensible football reporter.
And we've not done a day's work in our lives, have we? Either of us.
Not according to some people.
No. Well, thanks ever so much, Mike, and thank you.
You're welcome.
To you guys as well. Best of luck for the rest of the season. We've got a big name guest. Not that these weren't big name guests.
I'm not on again, am I?
We've got a big name guest. He's not on again. A 5-week suspension at least next week. On my YouTube channel if you missed. See you next week. Bye.